listeners For the Greater Good podcast. I am one of your co hosts, Uzumaka or Jacko.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us on another great episode of For the Greater Good podcast. I am your co-host, Chanel Dubique. Thank you.
Yes, we are here for another great episode. I'm excited about this topic because it just flows again nicely from what we talked about last time. But first off, I know that we are well, and getting into the get grits of May and springtime, and summer is right over the horizon. So I'm looking forward to the weather. I mean, the weather has been like up and down here in San Diego. It's crazy that we had warmer weather in the winter, and then now that it's spring, we're seeing like cooler temperatures. Even though we did have like that heat wave a couple months ago, but I feel like now it's cooler. It's raining, which is normal for spring, but I don't know. I just thought it was
The May
interesting. This
gray,
the spring has been
yeah,
interesting.
that
Yeah.
May gray came very early for San Diego. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Less flowers. I did notice that despite the pollen, did
Yeah.
notice less flowers because
Yeah.
San Diego, maybe in the last 2 years, had quite a hype about the blossoms and the flowers and all those things. But I don't think I've heard or seen much of that this year. And maybe it's the weather that
No, because I
it's
know.
inside. But
Yeah, that's
yeah.
true. I mean, always great to be inside, but it's like we're getting to those months where like no, it's time to be
Yes,
outside.
right, right.
Um,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
especially because the weather was like it was okay, but I'm realizing like, did you know that? I mean, I knew this, but I just didn't like think that they would do like pop-ups and actually appear. But did you know that that Alicia Keys and Swizz Beats like just popped up and like had a whole art gallery exhibit here and had a pop-up event, and then they were at the Chicano Park and had a whole live performance, and I'm just like watching it on Instagram like, things that I don't know
that's
that
why we
go
gotta
on
be
in San Diego.
outside. Because you mentioned earlier, one
Why
more
we have to
earlier.
be outside?
So
Not me missing Alicia Keys and I live here. What?
I know. Oh my God, you would have loved that.
Oh
So you would have
gosh, I was
loved
like,
that
dang.
opportunity. I know.
And she was singing New York. She was
Yeah.
singing. What else
For
was she
you, I
singing that
think
I
I
watched
or
the
no one, no
performance?
one. That was the
Yeah, she was
one. So
singing No One, and I'm like,
I know.
oh man,
Imagine.
anyone over here getting a live performance
I know.
and she's just here.
Totally missed that. I'm planning to go to see her Giants exhibition at the San Diego
Oh
Contemporary
yes,
Museum. So I'll go to visit that.
yes.
It's here until August 9th. So there's
Oh,
lots of time.
okay, good. I thought it was like a one-time thing, and I'm like, wow,
Yeah,
I really missed that, but we
exhibition will
should
be here
go.
until August 9th. So it has we have months and weeks to go and check it out.
Okay, well, we
Yeah.
gotta get the girls
Oh,
together and go.
let's rally and support the girl. Absolutely. Yes. Yeah, I
Yes.
know. That's what happens when you're not outside. You miss so much of outside.
Yes, but at the same time, it is also okay.
It so is.
Um, I'm just having a lot of FOMO, but
I know. No, that's all good. That was a
it's
great thing to talk about.
it is okay.
San Diego happenings.
Yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. But I'm really excited for this episode, especially because it just flows. Last time we talked about, yeah, I thought I was healing, but I was actually distracting myself. And I think this topic today really flows nicely because it's also saying in the midst of all that, you don't need to catch up. Like, this is for anyone that is currently feeling behind in life, comparing themselves to others, or carrying pressure to be like further along, and the goal here is for all of us really, is to trade that urgency for self trust and know that as we're talking about the pressure to catch up and what happens when we realize we may not need to. Some of us are exhausted, not because life is too heavy, but because we're like racing invisible timelines that we have, that not all just us, but society has created for ourselves as well. Me and Chanel, we're in our 30s, so y'all know what I'm talking about there.
100. I came into 2026 with
Yeah.
2025 chasing me. In the sense that
Yes. Remember, Chanel said, I am not having
no goals.
no
Yeah.
goals or
None of
nothing,
that.
no
Just
New
let
Year
it be.
resolutions.
And yeah, none of that. But when I was closing of 2025, two things were very pressing on me. And thinking to myself, because we're talking about your birthday being in January, like first of the year, somebody got a birthday. I mean, around birthdays, we figure out what to
Oh yeah,
do. And
I have 4 birthdays in January. I have my brother's on the 4th, and then my cousin had no, first of all, my cousin is on the 3rd, my brother's on the 4th, my sister is on the 18th, then I have my bestie Taylor on the 24th, then I got you.
yes, yeah, you are busy in January. Absolutely.
I know. January comes and I'm like,
That is so true.
so I know Taylor's gonna hit me up to go to Mexico. My brother's just gonna want to go to dinner, his usual
Yeah.
pasta. Emily, I don't know. She may want to just chill in Seattle or may want to go somewhere. And then for you, like we've been trying to get you, like you deserve to plan something
I
fun.
know, I know. And that's so all of those culmination things were, it just had me thinking, and I was like, you're about to be older, a year older. You're about to be, 30 something, middle of 30 something. You are married, no kids. And I think I walked into,
It's okay. You don't need to catch up. It's fine.
right, that's what this conversation is about, from the healing to the distracting, maybe having spent years in the healing, the distracting phase, and it's like, okay, like I'm under the rubbles of that now, like head up, I'm feeling lifted, I'm feeling lighter. And I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
we had some goals. Let's get back to them. Let's get back to the life that we actually wanted. But I actually, like, those things were, I had a moment of like indifference towards it. I'm like, you know what? If I don't get married again, that's all right. I've done it one time. Somebody else can get another chance at it. If I don't have kids, no. But the child part, like, I do want to have children. I would love to have a child. But I was just like, you know what? Fine. If I don't want, if I'm not blessed with a baby, then all right, that's fine. I can't do anything about that. But it was very strong on my heart too. And I kind of was beating myself up for a little bit, feeling like I had to accomplish these things and I hadn't properly, and I had failed one of my purposes on earth, essentially, when we think of a mom, a wife, and those things in that respect. But
Hmm.
I was just like, you know what? Everybody's on their own journey. And I still do want it. I'm young enough for that to happen. If it does happen, amazing. I'll welcome it. I'll be very gracious, very thankful. But I'm not going to compare myself and say that my friends have this and they're getting there, then I should be here. I just can't, because our timelines and what's happening in their lives is very different from where I am in life right now. Have you
Hmm.
ever felt like
Yeah.
you
I
were
mean,
everybody else was moving faster than you? Like, how did you come in
oh,
26?
all the time.
All the time.
All the time, but it's okay. I learned this lesson early on, actually. I had to go through my own mini healing journey when this happened. Yeah, as you all know, I have my California bar license. That took some time to get. It's a honor to graduate from law school and to say that you passed the bar the first time. So when I had friends that accomplished that and I didn't, I felt very behind. And even before that, too, actually, I had to learn this lesson already. So, rewind. That's one. The first actual part where I felt this was in law school. I went they call it K through JD. As you all know, I never took a break. The first year of law school was tough for me. I'm coming from college, going into grad school. I'm still kind of young. I'm like 22. I'm like, I can do this. I did fine in college. Like, this is nothing. And I was moving to a new city, to San Diego, a whole new change. I'm here by myself. And I struggled the first year. I had to split up my second semester because I was just on the verge of academic probation. But I didn't quite get there. They still kept me on because my school, thankfully, Cal Western has a really great program where they essentially split your second semester into two. So you complete half of your classes in the spring, finish up the rest in the summer, and then you're caught up with the second year with all the rest of your classmates. And so I was put into a separate program that really went down to the basics, taught you how you take a law school exam. This is how you write a law school exam essay. This is IRAC. This is how you analyze things. And so grateful for that program. But that was the first time that I've ever like truly failed at something. And man, that hit so hard. and I felt very left behind, and I felt like everyone else was moving at like the normal pace than I was, and it was hard to deal with that. Yeah, that was tough. So yes, I have felt like that multiple times. At that point, not passing the bar the first time, and then, of course, in my recent experience, being in a long term relationship, getting engaged, and then having to call off a whole wedding at mid to late 30s. I'm over here like, dang, like I thought I was, like I'm almost there. Like I made it. I'm going to be married and possibly have a kid before I'm 30. This is amazing. And then now, obviously, here we are.
Yeah.
But it's okay because guess what? I don't have to catch up. It's fine. But yeah.
No,
All that in a
there's work to
nutshell.
do, young
I don't
lady.
have to catch up. It's fine. I'm still here.
Yeah,
I'm still on my own. I just learned like the biggest lesson I took away was, I'm on my own timeline.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
if you've ever felt like that before, if you've ever been asking like, hey, why am I just not there yet? Hey, you're not alone. I went through it. Chanel has gone through it.
There are different paths that
This is why we're
we take
here.
so much and we take
Yeah.
for granted. As you were talking about your journey through law school and from K to JD, I was thinking of one thing I've absolutely beat myself up about through the years. It still comes up. It was
Mhm.
present with me a few days ago, is looking at some of my friends from high school and college specifically. And it was mainly the group from college, which I'm not really in touch with, a bunch of them, but I have seen their lives evolve and them go on to pursue different things. And it's more of, I wish I had the exposure to pursue the paths that they went on. But from a very young age, I didn't. So I have learned to forgive. I suppose forgive might be the right word. Forgive my upbringing, forgive my parents. They didn't know. They didn't have the
Mhm.
exposure. I didn't know that I could go on and be a scientist. It was, lawyer, engineer, and all of these four other options in that space. But it is so beautiful to at least be of the understanding and give myself the consideration that we didn't. And there is something beautiful that you have gone on to pursue. So it's also recognizing that there isn't a textbook that is saying, okay, you have two options. You either go this way or this way. And if you don't go either way, you have completely failed. No, it's everybody have a path. And that's the beauty of life, is that we can go down different ways, find ourselves, find different things that make us the elements of who we are and what we become, and share that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so just to start from the beginning, like we always have this invisible timeline. Like what are we catching up to essentially? Like where do you think this timeline pressure comes from?
Yeah. It comes from society. It comes from parental
Yeah.
expectations. And
Hmm.
then the circles that you put yourself in, because My my mom isn't here anymore, but she never was. There were some village boys that she was like, "Oh, he might be a good marrying candidate or husband candidate." I'm like, "Mom, absolutely not." But there was never that you have to get married, you have to have children pressure from my mom. And from my dad,
You're lucky.
very not so. Like this man, he loves
Yeah.
his grandchildren, but I will be very honest, I don't think he cares if I have a child or not. I don't think he cares if I am married or not, to be honest.
Oh, I'm sure he does deep down
So
inside.
that might be a conversation I have with him before I disqualify that that's how he's really
Yeah.
feeling. But it's just how we converse and how we talk, and those have lightly come up, but it has never like a pressure that you should. Actually, the person who most recently from my family mentioned that to me was his brother, so my uncle. I was on the phone.
Interesting.
Yes, and he was like, "When are you gonna give your dad a grandchild?" Like, oh, I guess I'm still relevant to the family to have grandchildren to bring grandchildren.
Not you're still relevant.
So, but for me, it's like there isn't the
That's funny.
pressure of my parents or my siblings telling me that I should. My niece is like, Auntie, I would love to have a cousin. That comes up, of course,
Oh,
but there isn't like that
yeah.
you have to. So, not from my family out at all. And it's not even from seeing like friends do that. It's more from feeling like I am missing something in my own life that would make me feel more full and joyous, expand my joy in a little a different way, I suppose. And then from the education side, the career, the finance, it's absolutely like looking at my friends or counterparts from school. It's not even like right now because I feel like with my group of friends, it is so beautiful how we've come into each other's lives. Like we've all just found each other on our journeys and we're just growing and uplifting each other. Like there isn't a competition or who's better or who's doing this. But when I look at that phase before, I'm like, well, I feel like that phase could have prepared me for something different right now. And therefore, I yearn for that to have been something different. And so I'm like, oh, that was what I was looking at that had a timeline to it. And I didn't meet the timeline there. So that does bother me sometimes.
Yeah, I definitely relate with you there. I mean, as you all know, just being Nigerian, they're always asking us that question. And then you add being the firstborn daughter. Whew, oh my goodness, what pressure.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's not that bad. I just simply ignore it. I'm like, yo, if it's meant to be, it's meant to
Yeah.
be. Like, I don't have control over that. You know, me personally, yes, I understand my parents would love to have, similar to your dad, would love to have a grandchild. And if your mom was here, yes, of course, definitely would have loved, that too. But yeah, but I also just think that if we just continuously race against these expectations and pressure. I just feel like it's just more detrimental. And then that fear of not being where we think we should be causes us to make certain like choices and decisions that will actually not are not really good for us in the long run. So yeah, and I don't think that's fair to us too. I think that we should allow ourselves to honor our own
Yeah,
pace.
that's true. And that's the beauty in that journey, as I was mentioning, the different paths that we choose to take. Because how you experience it is going to be so different than how I experience it. And then we come back to the table or we come back to wherever we meet in life and we share that. And you don't have the same story that I do, and I might be inspired by yours, and you might find inspiration in mine, and you might take that back and contribute to your life or to a different circle of your life. But it's just so important for us to just go at our pace. And if we feel like we want to perhaps accelerate that, then find people who's going to be that push or put yourself in environments that's going to be that push for you. But it comes as a part of your growth to just keep at your own steady pace, however you're doing that.
Hmm. Yeah, like you mentioned, like we all have different seasons. We all have growth in those seasons that may not always be visible to other people. But in that sense, I feel like those certain setbacks, as I mentioned, I learned a lot. And actually, it built up my character in those seasons where I wasn't catching up to everyone else. It taught me not only, it not only taught me that I need to honor my own pace, but that it made me actually take a step back and realize like, what is the value and purpose for me like doing this and accomplishing this. And I think we can even apply that to different things, like for us that yearn to have a partner, that yearn to have a family, we can even take a step back and say, what is the value of us wanting or yearning that? Are we yearning that so we can show off to other people and be on Instagram and the socials and be like, look at me, my man, my man, my man. Or like the wedding bells, the bachelorettes, and all that stuff? Or are we truly looking for companionship? We're really looking for someone that we can build and create a beautiful life with and to have a family, and because we want to create life, and doing that is like just the biggest accomplishment that we've always just dreamed of, and seeing our little like mini ones and things like that and seeing what they can accomplish too. So I think it creates a lot of wisdom, and it allows us to take us to process and really come to terms with, okay, why am I doing this and what is the value, and teaches us that we can trust our own timing.
Yes, so important. That self-trust as we introduce the episode. Because when you start to question yourself, is what I'm doing important? Have I found my
Hmm.
purpose? And that comparison is so not helpful because that stops you in your tracks of where you feel like you're going. Perhaps you stop and reassess and evaluate, what is important here. Why am I allowing where I'm seeing somebody else in their life trigger me or have me announce this type of feeling to myself or ask these questions? It is helpful and it can be healthy to do that, of course, but not comparing yourself to somebody else, you know, trusting yourself process, building that trust within yourself, absolutely so important. How are
Mhm.
we as individuals now supposed to tell ourselves, all right, I'm going to stop measuring myself against everyone else? How do we do that?
I feel for me, I just had to tell myself I'm tuning everything out. I had to just stop, just flat out stop and tell myself I'm not. And also, not only that, but also to express more gratitude for those that are there already and to show appreciation and support. I love supporting my friends and their accomplishments, and so I love shouting them out when they've accomplished something. I always just love showing up and just being there for them. So even if I'm not if I'm not meeting them where they're at, um, compared to those like invisible like timelines and everything. But yeah, I think how we can definitely stop measuring ourselves against everyone else is one, to just tune out the noise, and then two, to show more gratitude
Yeah.
for those that have been there, and to tell ourselves and use that as like motivation. Okay, like this person got there. I know for one, I'm capable of doing that. If this person can do that, well, I can definitely do that too. It can be done. And then thirdly, just to take a step back and just appreciate like their hard work, and the timing for them just happened to work out in that way. That's how I feel. That's how I've stopped measuring myself against everyone else. It's I find more peace to show up and be appreciative and to be supportive than and see that as motivation versus seeing that as like a competition or comparison, or then using that as an opportunity to beat myself down or feel bad about myself because I'm not there. Like, yes, I still have those emotions. I'll let myself feel that because I think it's important to acknowledge that we may be a little sad that we're not there with them accomplishing the same thing. But then to just acknowledge that and then be grateful for them and be happy for them.
Absolutely. That is so beautiful and so organic to just feel that way. And that had so much wisdom. It's not just wisdom of words, but wisdom of emotions in there. Like you've come away from circumstances and you've measured and reflected on life itself. And hence why you can speak that way. It's like, I really know what's important, in my life and the friends that I'm having in my life as well, too. How are we contributing to each other? And I love absolutely what you shared in that respect of celebrating it because so often we feel like, okay, that's your win. But when we sometimes sit with how we've contributed in some respect, just by being there, just by showing up for them in their low points and their high points, just that presence matters so greatly. Something I would add on how to stop the measuring is asking yourself, okay, you're measuring. What are you measuring? What is your personal
Mhm.
success? Where do you want to go? The thing that you are saying, I wish I had, or they have this and I don't. What is that? Do you want the same thing? Because most often you don't. So what is the probably the equivalence of that for you? What is your success? What can that look like? What is your am I there yet? Like, what is your am I there? What does that moment look like? What does it feel like? What does that generate for you? Who is there with you? Who's celebrating with you? Try to envision that because by you doing that, that brings back the gratitude you mentioned for it to be so appreciative. I think that is what has informed a lot of how I show up right now is the gratitude part of it. My path could have been so different than where it is right now, but it's sitting back and reflecting that it didn't go this way, but look what I have right now. Look who is in my life and be grateful for that. So, what is your personal success? What is the idea yet? What is that yet? What is that purpose that you're seeking? And then you pinpoint, okay, I'm here. This is my am I there or my yet? What is it going to take for me to get there? Or what can I put in place for me to kind of one stone at a time lay the foundation of getting over so that you forgot about that comparison. You're now focused on your path versus something else that is distracting you.
Yeah, and another thing that came up too, is if you were to get that thing that person already has that you're comparing yourself to, would you be ready for it?
Not, would you be happy with it
Yeah,
too? Probably.
Would you be happy with it?
Yeah,
Yeah. If I had to sit back and ask myself that question, like if I were there right now, would I be happy?
yeah,
And I look at myself like, for example, if I were married and have kids right now, would I really be happy? Like, yes, but then there's parts of me that also still feel like a child, and I'm gonna appreciate like my independence, the fact that I can pick up and go wherever I want. I don't have those like added responsibilities. That's they're good responsibilities to have, but I do have, as like we all do, we have our friends that are like, man, I wish I was like you and I can just party and go out whenever I want to. I don't have to like check in and find a babysitter and all that stuff. But again, it's just little things like that where you can appreciate when it is your turn. I feel like there's so much more appreciation for that when it's your turn.
words. I love that. When it is
Yeah.
your turn. Hmm. And I suppose when it is
That's how I
your
felt when I like passed.
yeah.
Just an example, like when I like passed the bar, like I was like, oh, I just had so much overwhelm and enjoyment. But I feel like if I had, just as an example, like passed with my friends had passed, would I have felt the same? I don't think so.
But how did you take that?
It would be a different feeling.
Yeah, that's so true, right? How did you take that moment though for you to maybe console yourself and say it's not my turn, but my turn will come? How did you sit with that moment though?
I just I think I trusted just God's
Yeah,
timing. And I just trust the fact that if it's meant to be, no matter what, it will happen. Like there's nothing that's gonna stop it from happening if it's truly meant to happen. I think I just let myself just rest in that, and that's been really helpful
right.
and taken a lot of like that anxiety and that stress of when is it finally gonna happen, and me constantly worrying about it and causing more negativity, negative thinking. And as soon as I just made that decision to just rest and like, what will be, and leave it at
I
that.
know. And
Yeah.
that is so lovely because that comes along to exactly the conversation, what pace are you progressing at? Or what are you moving at? What are you measuring yourself to? The what will be. Not that you're not doing work in the interim, but you know that, okay, there's somewhere I'm gonna go. This did not work out. And it's also teaching me something that moment while it is being delayed for me. When I eventually get it at the right time. Because in those circumstances, I'm going to just use your moment for that, what I'm going to share. Having been not being married, having been engaged, and that not happening in the preparation for you becoming someone else in the future wife, so much growth has happened. I've seen it in my own eyes around you being in your space. That would not have happened if you had gotten married. And with
Mhm.
me being divorced, the person I am today who would never have existed if I was still married. 100%. I can say that. I can be very honest about it. So there isn't a perfect story for everybody. Not everybody has the blessing. And I don't want to say blessing because it looks like we aren't blessed, and that's not the case at all. But not everybody can say, I met the person, we got married, we've been together for all of these years. They have had a story and a beauty over there that they will never get to experience what we've gotten to experience. And that for sure I know has been amazingly beautiful. So again, different paths. Don't measure. You might look at somebody's life and it might seem like it was costly, it's more beautiful, and yours is painful. But what are you in that moment for? It's for something. What are you going to take from it? Yeah.
It's for a greater
Yeah.
purpose. It's for the
For the
greater
greater
good.
good.
Yeah, like you don't know what that person went through behind
No,
the
you don't.
scenes
You don't.
to get to that point. It may have seemed seamless and glamorous. But I think one of the things that also helped me in one of my therapy sessions before, my therapist was constantly reminding me, like, again, remember, you don't know what they went through.
Exactly.
All you see is the end
Yeah,
result. Yeah.
absolutely. There's always a lot of input for the output. We do know that so many more raw materials goes into that input, and then that output just looks like one final picture. There's a lot of
Yeah.
backend work behind all of this. And as we close on that
Yeah.
conversation, one thing just to keep us, I would say, in the know of is that most often, perhaps sometimes, it is worth more to catch up with yourself versus others. Because there
Hmm.
are probably
Yeah.
things that you've lapsed on and like, oh, I'll get to it tomorrow. Tomorrow comes, I'll get to it Wednesday, I'll get to it on Friday. And then that happens, and then you never get to it. What if you just caught up with that and then that comfort, that ease that you're like, and I do have get tos, which I'm going to get to. So I do know what that's like. I do know the heaviness. I
Yeah.
do know the breath of fresh air that I would feel because I'm looking at what other people are doing and I'm like, well, you're able to do this. And I have a similar vision. I have a similar thing I can execute, but I'm not doing it. But what if I just do that thing? Then I won't have to compare myself and look at what you've done and try to aim for where you're going because I'm now on my path, doing something that
Mhm.
I am happy to do.
Exactly. And as you all know, we like to leave you with great reflection prompts that you can take it as you wish. You can journal, you can talk about it in your friend circle, you can even make a post about it, or just even simply just reflect on it throughout the week. A couple questions here, like where do you feel behind right now? Is that pressure truly yours? And what would change if you trusted your pace this month of May? Like what would change? And so Chanel and I challenge you all for this week is to choose one area of your life to release urgency around.
Yeah. And our
Yeah.
last thought on that is that you don't need to catch up. You really
Yes.
just truly need to be showing up for yourself every single day as best as you can, one foot in front of the other. Show up for you, catch up with you. And let
Hmm.
that be the beauty that you get to experience and you get to have all this experience of you as well.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, once you accomplish what you have been waiting for, then that just becomes your like beautiful testimony. You can
Yeah.
say, hey, I made it.
Mhm.
This is what it took, but I made
I
it.
know. I know.
Yeah.
Nothing else to say after this. Other than thank you so much for listening. That was a perfect close. We appreciate you joining us here
Yes.
on another episode of For the Greater Good. Share this with someone. Journal as well.
Yep.
Comment and let us know what you found in the exploration of this episode too. Share it with someone, maybe a repost or a text message or WhatsApp to somebody that you just really feel like they can show up for themselves in a different way, or you've had personal conversations with them and they've shared intimate things with you or what they might want to change. But catch this episode also on YouTube as you're seeing it, on Spotify, on Amazon Music, and we are on Instagram for the Greater Good Pod. So follow us and share our podcast with somebody that you certainly feel could benefit from this as well. Thank you guys for listening and watching.
Thank you. And we'll see you as always on the next one.